Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Houston, welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. This is year 2026, the first one of the year for us back. It feels like it's been forever. Honestly, it just feels weird. I actually had to dust off the microphones. I don't know if my co-host had to do the same. Luckily, everything's kind of in the same spot, even though I haven't used it in what seems forever. But I am not alone. As I mentioned, I am joined by the original in this co-host of this podcast, Cristian Putalia's brother. How are you? Welcome to 2026. Hopefully, 5 days in, it's still a good year for you so far.
Buenas noches. Yeah, man. Hello, everyone. How's it going? What's up, Rudy? Yeah, man. 5 days. We're still in a good streak. no bad days yet. So hopefully we'll continue that going. But yeah, man, a lot to talk about. I think it seems like you said eternity, right? I was literally dusting off my stuff too. So it's funny that you said that because
I mean, and even I was looking at my microphone and I was like, oh my god, there's so much dust, and there's still some on the keyboard and all that stuff. But yeah, funny enough, like apart from recording, I was looking at the last time we recorded, and I recorded with Manny Olivares like right after Thanksgiving, like the Monday after Thanksgiving. So yeah, it's been a minute, and then you and me have not shared spaces because either I was out, you were out, and so forth. So is life. And obviously we kind of did take a break before we recorded with Manny and so forth. And we had been pushing it because really while there seems now a lot to talk about, there's still very little to talk about that is confirmed and in the Houston Dynamo space. But yeah, obviously, again, New Year's. I don't know if you're much of a resolution guy. You know, to me, I've always seen it as just another day. Like people celebrate like New Year's, and I remember doing that as a kid and having like, you know, we weren't really fireworks people. I don't know if you were, but we did have like all the noisemakers and like the things you wear in your head that have the year. Like I remember all that. Yeah, and yeah. So, but dude, I don't know if it's just me getting old or I really don't do any of that. My parents and my in-laws, they're the church goers that go for that midnight thing and like everybody celebrate. I can't do that, and so our tradition that my wife decided to start this year was just bring the massive king bed into the living room and have a sleepover. I don't recommend it because then in the morning there was nowhere to crash. I was like, man, I don't want to stay in this living room the whole time. But it was still fun. We watched Home Alone, even though clearly Christmas already passed. But it still felt in the spirit. But man, how's your time, man? Any traditions that you want to share in the Cristian Putalia's household?
No, there's not really a lot of traditions, to be honest. I mean, Christmas, we basically do the same. We go to my in-laws, eat dinner there on the 24th. We usually try to stay up till 12th to have the kids open some gifts and stuff. But nowadays, man, they don't make it. So they were opening gifts by like 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah, dude. Mine was like 8 or 9. Yeah.
Yeah. And same thing is like, I don't know if we're old and we're just tired or what is it, but yeah, like the kids obviously they have a bedtime throughout the year, so it's kind of hard for them to stay up that late, and also the anticipation of trying to open up gifts and stuff like that. But I mean, we do that, and then the next day we go back to my in-laws for breakfast, but it's like super late breakfast, kind of brunchy. And then after that,
recalentado, huh?
Yeah, and then y después nap all day. People watch football. I watch the inside of my eyes like crazy. They're a football family, so they watch, whoever's playing.
I do enjoy that. However, me and being Hispanic, probably like you, we celebrate the 24th. So I thought they were all on the 24th just to realize that they weren't. And I was like, man, I have to stay up till whatever time we start opening gifts. And this like, luckily my in-laws are literally like 20 feet away from my house. So, we can just walk here and walk back, but kind of similar to you, man. We headed back there. Well, my parents are very, like, my in-laws and my parents get along quite well, which is fantastic. So we get together being such a small family. And so we get there and do the whole 24th, and then yeah, we come back the next day for recalentado, but everybody kind of wakes up super late, and
Yeah,
yeah, and I'm telling you, sleeping in the living room also, well, that was for New Year's, but man, it's rough. It's rough, man.
that's
Uh,
rough.
but I've done a fantastic job since we've been off. I've been really working. I gotta take out the trash. Remind me, Christian.
I got
Trash when we
you.
get but just doing I know I had like private conversations with you, but just trying to get better in general, when it comes to all kinds of aspects of life. And so, man, I've been finding myself going to the gym every day, like,
That's good.
reading. I hardly read, and I've been reading a lot. Yeah,
Me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Nice.
Obviously, I'm a spiritual person, so definitely, reading the Bible as well, and other
Nice.
stuff, and just working on myself. I can't say that I'm not a bad person. I'm thinking if you met me, you probably get a good vibe from me altogether. But it's helped me in, like, in general,
Yeah,
right? With, like, I wouldn't call it mental health, but it just gets you in a better space of mind.
100%. Yeah.
For sure, man.
I'm
But
on the same boat. I'm on the same boat. I mean, I've been working out. I've been running or just doing some type of workout also these last 5 days. So we kind of we'll see if we can get all the people here. If you have Strava, you can always hit us up there. We'll probably put a link to all our things, and then basically all we do there is just kind of give each other thumbs up. Kind of saying what that's good. You worked out today, and then also gives you inspiration and be like, hey, I saw Rudy work out. I saw Dustin work out. I saw
you have to
Madeline
do
work
it.
out.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta get up and do it now. So we've been doing that, and then same thing. I started reading. I joined a book club, so there's that.
Nice. Nice.
Hopefully, I'll keep up. I'm a
Yeah.
slow reader, dude, and it
Yeah, me too.
sucks.
Okay, funny enough, so my wife, by the way, hi everybody. Jay Hurtado says, what a sight for sore eyes. Happy New Year's, guys.
Makes me feel
We
good.
got Foodie Fam. I had not seen him in this space, but man, welcome. He said, yes, let's share that Strava. You know what? I mean, join the Bayou City soccer community, man, as well.
Yes,
We
we'll
we
put it
have
up there.
that. If you want to donate, was it $3? I think a month as
Yeah,
well. You can get in our space, but we'll share for sure for free.
yeah.
But that's just a shout out for that. Um, what was I? Oh, dude. Okay, so funny enough, my wife was gonna watch one of those movies that came out that is like from a book. I think like Housemaid or something. That if sounds
Mhm.
right. And she bought the book and read it in 2 days. And
That's
I'm like,
crazy.
dude, like that. I can't do that. There's no way.
But
Granted, I will say I did read quite fast, which it took me about 2 weeks, but I was like surprised on myself. I was like, man, I haven't read in a long time, and I actually read, started and finished a book within a month. Like, so I gave myself props for that.
my wife, so I have this app, right? It's called Fable. So it's basically it's where I have the little group, right? So it's like you go there. It's kind of divided by chapter. And then you just go every chapter you read. If you want to comment something, like you can comment, other people can comment with you, whatever. So it's nice if you're on the app, and also gives you can keep up with like your books. You can like click I read today and then update it or whatever. It tells you the percentage that you have read so far. And I was telling my wife, I was like, look, last year I read 3 books. It's all like the books that I read to the kids. It's like the Narnia books. And then I was like, look, I read 3 books. I was like, this year I'm hoping to read 6. And she's like, yeah. I kind of slacked too. I only read 53. I'm like, wait, what?
Right.
What do you mean you slacked and you read 53 books? So I don't think I'll get to that point, but I want to get to at least
Yeah,
6.
I think my
And
wife said
yeah,
100, and I was like, looked at
that's
her like, oh my
crazy.
god, that's crazy. But
And I don't know
yeah,
about your wife, but my wife, she doesn't do audiobooks, or I don't know if she does or not, but it's all like straight up
no,
either
no, it's
Kindle
it's
or
hard
reading.
copies.
Yes. You're like,
I bought
God.
her like a Kindle, and she used it and lately she's been buying hard books. I guess it's cheaper. She found
Yeah,
out that they're cheaper, but
they're awesome.
it's crazy. It's
We'll
crazy.
we'll
But
get there one day.
that one day, dude, if you catch me reading 100 books, a miracle happened, man.
Literally.
I dumb under like if I could get like you said 6, I'm in good shape. That's
And
more than a
one every 2 months.
yeah.
That's a good average for
It's
us.
like I feel like I read obviously like articles and stuff like that, but like a book,
Yeah.
it's probably been since like freshman year in high school that I finished a book that I meant to read. Like
Yeah.
not that they made me read because it's a little different.
So here, I'm gonna tell you what I'm reading, and then I'm gonna tell you what I want to read. Well, not what I want to read, but I'm reading Les Mis. So, and the book club that I am is like one book per quarter. So we're gonna read at least 4 books. So Les Mis is like there's like 1,200 pages. It's thick as hell, and I'm like almost like 150 pages in or something like that. And then with a buddy of mine, we're gonna read Odyssey. You know how that movie's coming out? I think next year or this year. So we're gonna read the Odyssey by Homer, and then hopefully
That was a
go
good
watch the
book.
movie.
I
So
remember that was freshman year of high school, bro. That
I never read it. I've never.
really okay.
We
That
didn't
was
have
for
to
us.
read it,
For
so
us, that was freshman year of high school. So
it's gonna be brand new to me.
it's yeah, the Odyssey. If worst case scenario, go watch it on The Simpsons. They do a good job of making it
The
funny. So
Simpsons.
no,
That's
they do,
funny.
they do. But you guys are probably in here in this space and are like, what I thought this was a Houston
Who are these
Dynamo
guys?
podcast.
Yeah,
What is happening? Hey man, it's been a while.
it's been a
We are
while.
friends. We have to catch up with life. And we do text like pretty much every day too, but it's different,
It's
right?
different. It's
It's
different.
different.
We
It's
talk
different.
soccer actually every
Yeah,
day.
we talk mostly soccer, mostly dumb stuff,
Yeah,
and then and life as well. But I mean, it's hard. I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, I need to, trying to get together with people, but man, we live so far apart. Like thinking
yeah.
of you or me, and it's like it's difficult to get
That's
together.
another thing. I'm working on my backyard. Me and my wife, we just built a little walkway from the side of the house where it leads to the backyard, and hopefully by the summer we'll have a backyard ready to go. Maybe get some
Get it ready
barbecues in.
for the World Cup, maybe.
Hey,
You
and
know,
maybe I
World Cup
honestly
parties.
that wasn't in my brain, but now you just
Now
made
it
it
is,
click.
man. You gotta make some masala, brother. But
Masalo TV,
Well,
soccer.
is asado really considered a food? I was watching. I don't know if people know, but like I'm a West Ham follower, and they just signed Tati Castellano, and they asked him a bunch of questions, right? And I think they asked him like, "What's the best player you play with?" And he said Messi. And then they asked him, "What's your favorite food?" And he said asado. And then they're like, what player do you want to be like? And he goes, Messi. And anyways, it keeps going. So I'm just laughing. But he
Messi
said
Masalo.
asado. I feel like asado is not really a food. That's like a process of making food because there's different cuts of meat and stuff like that. Wouldn't you
Yeah,
agree?
I mean, I see how you can see. I see how you can see it as not an outsider, but somebody that is not part of that. But for us, it's kind of like a dish. But it's funny because like you said, it's not like one thing, is like a combination of things, because like you said, when you think of asado, you think of like different cuts. So mainly like the costillas, which are like the main thing, the ribs, but like cut in a long way. But then you have, chorizo, morcilla, and like all these, you can, there's like a gazillion things, but also you can include the bread, you can include the salads. So it's kind
I
of like
guess
a,
so. I guess so. Like
yeah, like a
it's
whole
a whole thing.
meal. Yeah,
Jay's with you. He says it's a
there you
meal.
go.
All right. We'll go. It looks like we're starting to bore some people. Mr. Tobar says, okay, what's
He
today's
said,
topic?
"Bro, get on."
Which is fine. It's fine. This is what we either you love us or hate us, and we're here for it. But like, I'll give you just a rundown of what we're going to talk about today. We'll start with the MLS Super Draft picks from the Houston Dynamo and the homegrown they added. We'll talk about. I apologize. We'll talk about trading Brooklyn Reigns. We'll talk about the transfer in rumors, obviously yet to be confirmed by the club, as well as transfer out rumors, which
Interesting.
there's an interesting one, and we'll touch that last. And if there's any more time for more weird, silly stuff, we'll get in there. But we'll try to get it under an hour here. Let's see how we do. But Christian, MLS Super Draft and homegrown contracts. Obviously, we look at it into this process, and since the arrival of Pat Onstad, it seemed like he really didn't care to use that as a way to get players in. We've seen that basically none of the players that he's drafted are a part of the club anymore, and it seemed that was going to be the case once more, being that the Dynamo really didn't have like the best selection, I would say, since they had draft or their first round pick was traded away to begin with. But before the actual event started, they did announce two things that if you guys have listened to the podcast interviews that we did, the very last one with Pat Onstad, he mentioned they were looking into getting a couple of guys that had gone through the academy, being Rhys Miller and Logan
That's good.
Herb, and they signed those guys to homegrown player contracts, which it's big deal, man. This is something that they hadn't done in the past. If I remember correctly, in that interview, Pat mentioned how obviously there's different pathways to get into the pro level, and that's something that um, Seattle Sounders had done in the past. He mentioned Paul Rugg, which me and you were kind of excited, like, hey, he's a free agent. Why not?
Yeah.
It was just hopeful thinking, because at the end of the day, you always knew he was going to be Seattle through and through. And another defender he talked about. So it's very interesting. I mean, Reese Miller, we've seen in the past. I think he was the first year of Houston Dynamo 2. He was one of their starters. The kid can play, and he decided to go to the University of Virginia to play college ball there. He did very, very well. I think 2024 he ends up tearing his ligaments and one of his knees, so he's set back quite a bit. He didn't get a ton of playing time in 2025. When he did play very well, and obviously, like, when you are set back like that, someone else is going to take your spot. And then Logan Irv had a really fantastic year in 2025. If I'm not mistaken, they got all the way to the final of the college college
Yeah.
soccer. Yeah. And so I mean, really good picks or pickups, right? At the end of the day, homegrown contracts are pretty contract friendly, if that, or salary cap friendly.
Yeah.
That gives this guys an opportunity, and you're like, man, another goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is interesting because obviously there's a lot of goalkeepers currently there, and then even if you have blanking on the name, Cruz from Dynamo 2 playing, but Reeves Miller I think is a good one because he's a right back that can, I think he can play fullback either side, but players like that, I think he can really, if he gets an opportunity and he excels, he could be what Griffin Dorsey has been for a while, Christian. But just your thoughts on just the process. You don't have to go into those guys, but how are we feeling about seeing the Dynamo kind of pull the trigger on those homegrowns? That I will say they were very high ranked for the draft, so they could have easily been gone to other teams.
Yeah, two things. I think one thing that is pretty good. Not pretty good, but at least I think they're thinking forward. Like, so bringing back Logan Erb, who's a goalkeeper. He's probably most likely going to play with two, and then try to build them up in that pathway. But we saw the outing of some of the goalkeepers in the first team, which it kind of makes you think that maybe Pedro Cruz might be a backup to the first team, maybe. So that's going to open the door, obviously, for the second team to kind of look for another goalkeeper that is willing to come in and fight for a spot in the second team, and then slowly but surely make their way up. Also, Pedro Cruz, I think, is a good example of bringing somebody young from South America or Central America, or whatever it may be, and try to flip them for some money. I think Pedro Cruz could maybe not see any minutes in the first team, but could be easily sold to another team for a good amount of money. So he's a good goalkeeper. I don't know if he's going to make it as the first goalkeeper in the first team, but at least that his promise is really high. I think we're going to see him in the first team a lot more this year than we saw last year. So bringing a homegrown player like Logan Herb, it's like you said, it's amazing. It's cap friendly, is everything friendly. He knows the club and everything. And going to my second point, I think it's going to make it better. I think they're going to start using college as a loan option type thing, right? So a lot of these players, they're going to come in from the academy or just American players, and obviously maybe they won't find a spot. So what better way than to kind of loan them out to a university for 4 years? On top of that, they're going to get an education, for the future, whatever it may be. But it'll give you 4 years of playing time that maybe you were not going to have, in D2, because it's going to get crowded with all these players, that are competing. And the ones that are bringing in to kind of compete also for first team minutes and stuff like that. So maybe you won't find a spot in the second team also. So why not go to the away for 4 years, get some playing time, and then still come back at 21, 22 years old when you're still a young guy, and be able to jump into D2. And now you're an older player, mature, and probably you can give more than when you were 17, 18 years old.
Yeah,
Try to fight your way through the academy or through this second team in Dynamo Dos.
yeah, and
Yeah,
exactly, and gives you that opportunity to, obviously get your body ready, and you're still
that too.
21, 22, and get an
Still prime.
opportunity. Yeah, yeah, and that's a lot of what you see in the MLS for sure. And just to mention the guys that did get picked up in the MLS draft. They got Joe Highfield as their first pick in the draft, which is a forward that it looks to be very, very highly regarded. Then Callum Tommy, a defender as well. Then you have another defender in Agustin Rich, another striker in Austin Brumia, which that one was an interesting one because he showed up that he had a Dynamo jersey when he was 4 years old, and so that was a cool little tie, I'm sure. And then Gilberto Rivera from San Jose State, a midfielder. We really don't know how many of them will stick, if any. But it seems like they did hit on what people consider like quality picks. So
Yeah,
they're definitely players that are needed, whether it be in the attacking or in the defending side of things. So it would be great to see them find a way, whether it be they stick around for Dynamo 2 and play some MLS Next Pro and eventually wiggle themselves into the first team, of course.
yeah,
I don't think none of them are necessarily like a must start in the first team, but if they are talented enough, they'll get themselves into that thing.
yeah,
Christian, we'll talk about trading Brooklyn Reigns and kind of what that entails. I think that probably our biggest segment today. I did see Amazing Tobar, and I'm going to talk about this real fast. But they asked about if the rumor is correct about transfer market of a Mikael being rumored coming back or going to Miami. It seems like he's going to Miami. Everything just looks like he is going to be loaned out to Miami. Clearly, he was scouted by Lionel Messi back in the MLS US Open Cup that he did not get to play and probably was scared of Mikael, for being honest. But no, in all reality, um, it's I want to hear your feeling about this. I mean, we know what Mikael is, and you see the noise in the Dynamo Twitter world, we want to call it that, of just how disappointing it is, and oh my God, look at this club. At the end of the day, you sold them. I mean, it doesn't matter who it
you
goes
made
to
money.
after that, right?
Yeah,
And so, uh, I think if I put my fandom hat on here, I'm happy for Mikael. He went to a place that was very difficult for him to play in Palmeiras. Obviously, the media, everybody, the fans wanted him out basically as soon as he got there because of a few errors, or he just wasn't up to par for what they expected out of the young Brazilian defender. And he finds himself going back to the MLS, but to the current champion of MLS Cup.
yeah,
And he is nothing but, if he brings the skills that he left the Dynamo with, then he's going to do a fantastic job. And
yeah,
that's kind of what you're expecting. Now, we know Mikael. You and me remember a couple of the mistakes he made early on when he got into the club. That's probably what happened with Palmeiras or at Palmeiras. I
yeah.
never really got to see many of the games that he played at, other than some Libertadores matches, but he wasn't in it. But maybe that's what got him kind of booted out of Palmeiras. And
Yeah.
could he do that as well with Miami? Of course he could. But I think if he composes himself, we know how good he can be, Christian.
No, yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, I think first of all we have to realize that Houston was a stepping stone for him, and it was a huge one because not only did it like basically shine a light on him, but it literally took him back to one of the biggest teams in South America, which is Palmeira, legendary club. I mean, since the 2000s, especially with me, like Boca playing so many finals against them and stuff like that. So Palmeiras is known as one of the greats, and him going into a super competitive league, if not the best league in South America today. If you're gonna go there, they want results now, not tomorrow. There's no adjustment periods. Like with the amount of money that flows through Brazil nowadays, there is literally no mercy for nobody. So you gotta either go there and compete and be consistent, or unfortunately, he's just not going to make it, and that's just what it is because they have the money to spend and bring another guy and say, okay, this one didn't work, we're going to get another guy. I mean, the advantage that he had was that he was going to his home country, so you would think maybe he was going to feel more at home, or literally, and just kind of adapt better and quicker. But I guess that didn't happen with Palmeiras, and I mean, let's be honest. The Brazilian league is obviously a step further
Yeah.
up than the MLS.
And a Palmeiras team, they made it all the way to the Copa Libertadores final and ended up losing. And
Yeah,
obviously he wasn't a part of the starting lineup, but you can just it's massive,
yeah,
as
it's
you mentioned.
huge.
It's
Yeah,
huge.
and well, I mean, yeah, and if you're gonna come back, obviously, he's gonna be stepping down a little bit more. But if you're gonna be stepping down into the MLS, why not? If you're being scouted by the best team in the league, why not jump there? Especially giving, I mean, the pluses of playing with guys like Messi, playing guys with like De Paul, with legendary dudes that have literally won titles. It's Messi, right? Like we don't have to say much about it, but even if Messi wasn't there, why wouldn't you want to go with the last champion? That
Of course.
obviously they're gonna play CONCACAF Champions League. They're gonna play all these other tournaments internationally. That why wouldn't you want to be part of that? And especially if it's a loan for him, maybe he'll get the opportunity to stay there, or maybe go back. But it's gonna be good for him. But I think obviously he's gonna, like I said, he's gonna be stepping down a little bit lower, so the quality of him playing is going to go a little bit up.
Yeah,
So
and giving a quick love and shout out to our friend and colleague Joey Chavala about a month ago when it was announced that Mikael was on the move and he was probably going to leave Palmeiras and MLS was rumored again. While everybody was like, "Oh my God, let's bring him," back to the Dynamo, right? He was like, "It's going to be LAFC or Miami," so he hit on it. So
yeah,
smart people can see kind of where a player like him does, and I don't see it as a bad thing for the Dynamo. You can't blame him. You sold him for a good amount of money. Now what it goes to from now it doesn't matter at this point. Like you clean your hands, and if Miami has to buying him, then you get more money out of it too. So
yeah,
it's a win-win at the end of the day. And yeah, it sucks that he's coming back to the MLS, but he's in the Eastern Conference. There's a lot of things that you won't see him as often. Actually, you really won't see him unless they make it into the MLS Cup final, and that's questionable right at this point.
yeah.
Let's move on to the Brooklyn Reigns trade that, my God, had
Mhm.
people on a big frenzy. This kind of came out of nowhere to an extent. I think there's some
It was probably
uh,
quicker than what we expected,
it was very
right?
fast, yeah,
Or sooner.
because
Yeah,
it was around the same time that I think it was Tom Bogert was telling, or giving news about the players that uh, the Dynamo looked like they were picking up. I think they announced, the upcoming DP and the Argentina, and we'll talk a little bit about
yeah,
them in a little bit. But he threw in there how Brooklyn Rain was, being inquired, but a few MLS teams, and as you said, I mean, it wasn't maybe 2 weeks after that, and you get the news that the New England Revolution ends up trading for Brooklyn Reigns. The Dynamo get a million points, or sorry, yeah, 1.6 million catch trade with about
400.
400,000 extra, so close to 2 million. It could go up to 2 million. Um, we saw it, and you're like, man, that is very good. At the end of the
Yeah,
day, you don't know what Brooklyn Reigns is going to be. Yes, he had a very good U20 um with the U20 World Cup with the national team, and the coach that he had in that tournament is the one in New England that basically was like, man, we need to get this kid.
yeah,
And if they were going to utilize him differently, great. Great for Brooklyn. Give him an opportunity to kind of be the man. He's kind of going in as like what Jack McGlynn was to the Dynamo last year, kind of like a guy that's a young kid playing some meaningful minutes in the national setup of things,
yeah,
and see what you can do, kid, and I think for the Dynamo, in bringing Brooklyn Reigns as a young kid, basically spending all his time in Dynamo 2 till last year when he started getting more meaningful minutes with the Dynamo. Um, I mean, is he good? Yeah, I mean, his potential is there, but it's a gamble, right? And I don't know how you feel. Like, you think like, is he gonna where could you see Brooklyn race? Plus, I think people forget that his contract is gonna be up in December of this year, coming up in 2026 with the Dynamo. He was been wanting to go to Europe. At this point, you do get a sell on clause if New England ends up selling him. So I think there's more, definitely better things for the Dynamo to gain than not, Christian.
Yeah, I guess I'll start off with an unpopular opinion by many, and I think my opinion is that he's not that good. Joey might show you the actual numbers, right? He's a very numbers driven. Shout out to Joey over there, and probably even Dustin, I would say too. I think both of those guys are very numbers driven, and they basically did show that he was all right, but he wasn't like life changing player type thing, right? And I mean, me from the beginning, I've always said that he seems like a really nice guy, a nice kid, and everything like that. But to me, I didn't like him as much. I didn't think he had the explosiveness. I didn't think he had like the cheese spot, like that spark to kind of lead a team, especially in that position where he plays, which is like super. I mean, all the positions are vital, right? But if you play in the heart of the field, I feel like you have to transmit something a little bit more than whatever it was that he was transmitting. He was very passive, very quiet, in my opinion. And I didn't think he was going to be one of those guys to be a leader type that you need in that position of the field to lead a team forward and get you games, get you plays, get you I don't know positions, get you I don't know whatever it may be, right? That a player like that can get you. So when I saw the new, obviously we want to see players grow and make money out of them, especially if you want to be a club that is serious about developing players and making money out of them. And I think this was a great move, my bad, especially the amount of cash that they got for him. Especially he came from a nothing deal basically, right? From
Yeah,
an academy kid in a
right.
way, not really, but kind of really. But he kind of worked up that ladder, right? They knew what they were doing. They knew that he was coming from the Barcelona Academy in Arizona. It was like, let's bring him in,
Yeah.
kind of make him a
I think
dynamo
he
player.
didn't he play
And
with El Paso? I think El Paso
a
Locomotive, I
little bit.
think,
I think he played a
like
year,
one
right?
season. Yeah, when he
Yeah,
was like 14, 15.
yeah,
And to your point, I think we don't have to like talk too much into it. Obviously, in
yeah.
the past we were talking about the numbers, but there is a very good article that Dustin put out there and kind of like what it means, and I think
Yeah,
it goes
that was a
into
good one.
way more further detail than we could do here. But I will add, if you guys are interested, and I don't know if you how much of stats as Christian says, but uh what is it? F I
F
was
ref,
F breath. Yeah,
football
that's
ref,
yeah, football reference.
FBREF.
Correct. I was gonna say I do tend to go in there every now and then, and if you
Yeah,
go look at Brooklyn, he wasn't that great. His numbers weren't really there, and you
yeah,
guys can they do show some comparables. What he was fantastic at, he was a pass completion assassin. I mean, this
merchant.
guy, yeah, merchant. Um, he and it was a lot of short passes, a lot of back passes, but he has qualities. I wouldn't be surprised if he
Still
gets
growing.
better, right?
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah. But you at the same time you do kind of don't see that, like you mentioned, that thing, right? That thing that
yeah.
makes them like be
Stand
better
out.
or above, exactly. And
Yeah,
so however, being in this setup, it could help him, right? Again, he was
yeah,
very vital under this coach in the U20 World Cup with the national team. So why not? Maybe he does get better. Maybe he is asked to be
yeah,
more of a box to box number 8, or maybe he gets pushed up the field, or play out wing. I mean, we've seen him with the Dynamo kind of playing all kinds of weird positions,
yeah.
and he's done well, right? He's done good when asked. And has he had his bad moments? Of course he has. He's a young player. Has he's had some very good moments? Of course he has too. I mean, if it wasn't for him, the Dynamo would have missed the U.S. Open Cup in 2023 when he scored that last minute goal against Tampa Bay, if you guys remember. So there's stuff like that I mean, he's a good player. He's a solid player, but I don't think he was like life changing to move away from him.
Yeah.
Uh, especially, and we'll leave that there with the rumors of the transfer ins, right? Because you're moving away from a young player that still has, to prove himself, and you don't know if you can really build around him or not. And if, this rumors get confirmed, hopefully this week, since
Mm.
shout out to Houston Dynamo Communications, Leo and Jag. It looks like they were out on vacation. Maybe now they're back and they're gonna break all kinds of stuff, right? I don't know if you about you, Chris, but did you see all the memes kind of saying like it's gonna take me a while to get used to it? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably how they feel, right? But yeah, so we'll start with like there's three guys that are
the
rumored for the
replacement.
Dynamo replacements. But we'll start with the one that would be replacing
No,
in a way a Brooklyn Reigns, which would be Agustin Busat, a guy from Vélez.
yeah,
You are Argentinian, but I'm not gonna play the hey, you're Argentina. Well, tell me about this guy.
yeah,
But from what we've seen, I mean, he's the captain of Vélez. He helped Vélez win a championship not too long ago. He's I believe he's called a an attacking midfielder,
yeah,
but he can play in various positions in the midfield. I mean, he's again captain. He's the guy that wants the ball. The ball goes through him to create chances. People look at it and it's like, oh my god, he's an attacking midfielder, barely scores any goals or barely does this.
yeah.
But if you use that reference football, I mean, his numbers are like night and day into what even Brooklyn Reigns was, right? And so to that, I don't know if you have it in front of you, Christian.
I don't. I can pull
Which
it
is
up.
fine, but I actually, you know what? I do have both of them. I can put them.
Ooh.
I'll work it out. I'll work it out here.
All right.
But yeah, just maybe what are your thoughts on him altogether, man? And just the room again. Nothing
Yeah,
confirmed today. He posted like a goodbye thing.
yeah.
Finally,
It's
uh,
coming.
I've been tracking all these guys' rumors, but they have not been showing a lot of information themselves. And again, he just said goodbye to the club. So, man, yeah, your thoughts on him?
Yeah. I think we just got a twice as much, or I think more a more mature Brooklyn Reigns in a way. I think this is what you want for this position is a guy that is, maybe in his early 30s. I think he's what 31, 32 maybe. So it's like the peak of like when you're a very mature player in a league, like you said, he's a captain of his team. And I think it tells you a lot whenever you hear a rumor and you go to social media of that club and you see the fans, crying about this in a sense, not, literally crying, but they're like, oh, he's so good, he's so great, like, we wish him the best. Like there's no hard feelings in the way of like, man, this man, this guy sucks and stuff like that. And I watched a few of shows, of the like kind of like our show, but for Vélez. And they talked about Busad, and they basically said, yeah, like he wasn't great in the beginning when he first got to the club, but as the years kind of went by, he became more and more of an important piece, not only in as a player in the field, but also as like a human being and leader in like off the field type thing. So, that you're not only bringing a guy that is going to click, in the field, making passes, making plays, because he was good at that according to the metrics, but also you're going to bring a guy that off the field, he's going to be a leader, a captain, possibly. I don't think he's going to take the armband away from either Arthur or even Eric Shevchenko if he gets it, depending on, how it turns out to be this year. But I think having another captain in the field without an armband, that is so much, like that is such a plus, because if you're Jack McGlynn, if you're, a guy like an Ali, if you're just a young guy that needs the guidance from an older dude to be like, hey, you know what, you made mistakes, I got your back. You go play soccer, I got your back, we can do this, we can do this together. And I think this is what you're going to see with one of these guys. They're so mature that they're able to tell those guys, like, you know what, you have fun, I'll take care of that. And they're not, obviously they're looking for glory, but I think they're looking for the collective glory at this point in time. They're here to, he in his career that maybe not ending, but it's going to end soon. So obviously he's going to here to
No,
make
well,
money, but
and
the competitiveness doesn't fall either.
it to me is more apart from making the money, right? I mean, you're
Yeah.
gonna come and go wherever they're gonna pay you any money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Whether it be, well, we don't know any details. It's not confirmed yet. It seems like all the rumors are kind of lining up to be right, and so we'll kind of wait unless something crucial happens. But I think that and I named this episode, roster construction and club strategy. I think the the strategy is win now.
You have to.
Especially because they missed the playoff last year after it
Yeah.
looked like it was building up. You do so good for the first 2 years, and then you have a bad collapse with not bringing enough the right players to take over the guys that left, or the holes that were created with injuries. And so whether it be just, I wouldn't say that they don't want to make this team any younger, they just want to make it more experienced. They just want to make it with bringing, as you mentioned, the captains of certain teams. And I think it's instrumental. I will keep going to the other guys, that the other two that are rumored as well. But I put them together here, and I know it's kind of difficult to see. But Brooklyn Rains, and I know if you guys are probably listening to this podcast the next day, and I would highly suggest that you check it out on YouTube. But I put the scouting report here, and you see a lot of red, Christian.
Yeah.
There's a lot of red. We talked about the pass completions. He completed about almost
90.
92% of his passes.
Yeah.
Crazy stat, but I mean everything else is just very, very poor. I wouldn't even call it average for Brooklyn Reigns. So when you're telling me that, for shits and giggles, right? Transfer market is purely a reference. So whether they say, "Oh, this player is such and such, and this is how much they value," they have Brooklyn Rays valued at about $500,000. So if you potentially made 4 times that, I think you take that every time,
Yeah.
right? And
100%.
and I just wanted you guys to compare this, because now, Christian, I know you haven't seen this likely, but I'm going to show you the Agustin Bosat numbers, and you tell me how much red do you see, okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you're looking at it right away, and there's not much red. His pass completion is definitely not as good. He's at 73%, which is not even terrible still. I think it's
Yeah.
better than most quarterbacks. I'm kidding, in the NFL. But no, I mean, you see the progressive passes is just really good, right? I mean, he's putting his teammates in good positions, progressive carries, and I know a lot of this stuff kind of, who cares, right? But whenever just proven that is creating opportunities, winning you titles, you
Yeah.
take those, man, every single time. And you can dissect highlight videos and this and that, and it's okay, it's not good enough, he's not scoring enough goals, but are they winning, are they competing, like where do they stand? And that takes us straight into it's a Guillermo. Everybody's trying to call him
Yeah. Guillermo.
Guillermo. We're all trying to go
Dustin
with
is going to kill
Guillermo.
us.
Yeah, it's we're gonna have to figure out. But this guy here, from Santos, a left winger, he looks very active in front of goal, and that's another clip that somebody made like back in
Yeah.
August. 2 minutes of him just missing in front of goals, and Houston Dynamo Twitter was going crazy about, oh my God, this guy's gonna be a DP. And one thing that I mentioned to you when we saw that, I'm like, well, I don't even think we can get 2 minutes of Amin Bassi or Sebastian Kovacic
Anybody.
doing that. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't care if he's missing that many, if he's in front of goal, and he does score goals, he does create assists. So this he's a dangerous guy in front of goal. Now, will they be able to, finalize? We don't know. And obviously, I don't
Yeah.
think you're necessarily asking him to be the guy, the goal scorer, especially because he's a left winger. He's going to spend time with, sharing time with Anali. But if you can
If
unlock, right, exactly. But if
yeah,
you
we'll
can
talk about that.
unlock, right, but yeah, right, because nothing is confirmed yet.
No. I'm saying because we were always talked about, and Ali could go to the right
Oh,
side.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Because yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Because especially this guy's definitely, by Tom Bogart put the seal of approval here. So it seems
Uh,
like he's going to be legit. So there's no if he's going to be a Houston Dynamo, but if he's going to be sharing the field with Anali, which is
yeah.
correct. And, but could that unlock, and Ezequiel Ponce, could that unlock Anali or whoever's on the
Yeah. Even Jack
right
McGlynn.
side of the field, Jack McGlynn? So whether he's missing in front of goals, whether he's destroying the woodwork, left and right, if he's getting in front of goals, if you're doing good, and we understand Santos did not have the best of seasons, they almost relegated, but that's not purely on him. Whenever a
Yeah.
club does that, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, I don't know how much you saw or what have you seen from from this player. But what are your thoughts on the team just bringing yet another winger into the mix?
And well, kind of like to finish off or to piggyback of you, for you to have a compilation of 2 minutes of missing goal, it means that you have to get there to miss them. So if we want to look at the glass half full, then I guess we can say that, right? He had to get there. He had to get there to miss them, and at least we know he can get there. The next question that we're gonna have to answer is, can he put them in the net? And I think, I mean, like we said, the Brazilian league, it's a whole different league than the MLS. The MLS tends to be a little bit easier. Maybe that could be the unlocking factor there. But it's all a matter of, okay, let's see him on the pitch and let's see how he does, right? Um, but I think it's a great move. The guy's also another not veteran player, but a man that has been weathered. A guy that has been playing his whole life in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a dude that just, I mean, it's a top league. If you go from a top league to a little lower, not a little lower, but just a step down, obviously your skills are going to increase a little bit more because you're playing with players that are a little bit less than that. I'm not saying that the MLS is not getting better too, because I think the MLS it is getting better. But I think for the Houston Dynamo, as a club that we're not used to seeing these kinds of signings. I mean, I'll take anybody from Santos any day over anybody from a random team in Croatia, a random team in Slovakia. I don't even know if that's a country anymore. Like a random team, in Eastern Europe that we honestly have never heard of.
Yeah.
And I think a guy that has been in, I mean, for you to make it to Santos, a legendary club like Santos is because you have to be good, right? And then also, I mean, who doesn't want a bit of Brazilian flair into their play?
Hey, I found the pronunciation is Guillermo. So Guillermo wasn't too far back. It's a little,
Close.
yeah, it's Guillermo. And going to your thought, yes, he has played mostly in the Brazilian league. He did spend some time in Saudi and in Emirates. So those are two
So you
outside
got
of
money.
Brazil. But at the end of the day, I agree
Hopefully,
with
hopefully he's coming for the glory, not
yes.
for the money.
Of course, of course. So, yeah, no. So that one's gonna be an interesting one. And like I said, I think it's much needed in the sense of just being dangerous. I think the Houston Dynamo, the last 2 years, have just missed that being dangerous in front of goal. Kind of having,
Yes.
if you have a guy again, even if he's missing it, even if he's in front of goal and just creating the havoc, it just puts the other team on their toes and opens up opportunities for other guys around him. So
Yeah.
you have to take it with a grain of salt. I know a lot of people are already very negative on this guys coming in, and to me, when I see stuff like that, it's you have to give them an opportunity to show themselves that they aren't good enough or are good enough, type of thing, right?
Yeah.
And all you can do is hope that with all the metrics that they have behind them or how they can fit into the group that they get it right because playing the devil's advocate, we have seen them get it wrong, like a Toyosi all of a sudden that it was like, oh, this guy's gonna be fantastic. You never really saw him. He
Yeah.
never really fit. He seemed like he could fit, the playing style of kind of like counter attack, smash and grab, but it just never happened. And so that the Dynamo and Ben Olsen want to play with the ball at their feet. And so this type of player seemed to be that, I guess type of player to let them do that. But Christian, all right, we'll kind of confirm this. Hopefully, we'll talk more about
Sometime.
them once they get confirmed. Hopefully
Yeah.
this week. Watch, it's gonna be tomorrow as soon as I post
I was
this on the
literally just gonna
podcast
say that.
feed. But hey, you heard it here first. You
Yep.
100+ people listening to us live. Thank you for joining us. Of course, we're not done yet. That's not a goodbye. We are doing good time. We have 10 minutes till 1 hour.
Yeah.
So I can't promise that we'll be there under an hour for sure. But the last one that has been rumored, it's Lucas Halter, this center back who is owned by Botafogo, played last year with Vitória as well in Serie A in Brazil. He looks like the real thing, Christian.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't see much of him, but I think if I'm not mistaken, he seemed more like a D2 signing, right? So I mean, Why not? Low risk, high reward type thing. So
Well, see, I'm not sure if he would be technically a D2 man. I think you're getting him confused with another guy that I'm thinking of, and I did
probably.
not write him. But this guy was the captain of Victoria. So
Okay, never
yeah,
mind.
no, yeah, you're thinking of the Doman. That's and
Yes.
I didn't put
Yeah.
him on here because that kind of rumor has faded a little bit when I went back and looked. But you're
Low.
right. That 20-year-old kid
Okay.
from
Yeah. Yeah.
Brazil as well. I think he's like a fullback, if I'm not mistaken, or a what's it called? Central defensive midfielder. But yeah, that guy would definitely be a D2 if he is to make it to the team. But Lucas Halter, man, looks just like a beast. I mean, he is what's you remember Seca? Anybody remember Seca? The
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a Seca on steroids. He's just like a tall. He looks a lot like Seca. That's why I thought of him.
That's
But
hilarious.
he's like a 6'2" guy. Seca was like 5 nothing. But this guy, he's an aerial threat. He can score goals. People were asking like, is he left footed? Like, people are trying to pair him next to Sviatchenko, and we know how vital Sviatchenko is. But
No.
in my um what I'm thinking, my point of view is he's Sviatchenko's replacement. Don't get that twisted. I
Mm,
feel that he's a guy that could eventually, take over Sviatchenko. So
interesting.
call it depth, just because we've seen that Ben Olsen loves to have a right center back with a right footed and left. He
Yeah.
wants to keep that, and I love it because not a lot of people have that, right? They try to keep like, hey, well, whoever's better best pairing, throw him out there. But he's very like lefty lefty, righty righty, and so. When you see it that way and you see what Lucas Halter can do, I think he could be a guy that could definitely become your starting right center back.
And I mean, it's also a good. I mean, if you think about the center backs that are left, there's not many of them. So you literally have to kind of build up that base of center backs. At least have two in each position. To kind of compete with each other and everything like that. I mean, Daniel Sayers is out. Um, Femi is completely out for sure. What's the other kid? I'm blanking on his name. White boy,
You
young
got
guy.
Stare is out. You have you
Um,
say
a white boy out, young guy that he was always getting hit
Barlow?
in the head. Barlow. I love Barlow, but for some reason, he just never was consistent enough. But that's three center backs, and then the other one, the Colombian, right? He went back
Yes,
to
Pablo Ortiz. He's gone. That's
so
something that
literally
had
in
been.
one season,
I
one
think
off
there's
season,
only
there's
three
four.
center backs. It would
Yeah,
be only three center backs with him. So obviously that's another. Uh, and yes, they did draft those guys, but again, those would
yeah,
be more depth pieces
yeah,
that would, if they make it into the two squads, if you want to call it that, they'll probably
yeah,
spend more time in Dynamo 2. So you still need to bring a left-footed center back to
yeah.
go behind Antonio or in front of Antonio. So it's this is working progress. Yes. I should have put the thing in here. Where's my
And
banner?
I think the team, what it's supposed to be coming
Let me
back.
show you. My
Like,
banner says right there.
hey,
Yeah, the team should be back, I think, in 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
that's
Uh,
crazy.
and so yeah, I
Because the
believe.
season starts the 21st. They'll have like three weeks of
Yeah.
to get ready.
So yeah, I mean, you need to build this roster as soon as you can, as fast as you can, but you do want to get the right pieces, especially with such a I guess disappointing season would be the correct way to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Obviously, we're hoping that all of this transfer rumors into the Dynamo get confirmed, and we get news from the Houston Dynamo FC front office saying that this is the case. We get hopefully opportunities to interview with um, the players as well, and kind of see what that looks like. But Christian, we're doing good timing, man. 5 minutes in, I have my last thing here that I have is a transfer out rumor.
Ooh.
This one is an interesting one. Kind of came out of left field. I think I want to say it was Madeline, the one that put it on our chat. I can't remember who did. Shout out Madeline, which by the way, I've seen her. She's been active on the chat here for a little bit.
She's also active on Strava, so go follow her too.
There you go. Yeah, you're gonna have to put that group somewhere, man.
Yeah.
Well, late.
Yeah.
Yeah, You
I
can
don't
put it.
know. We'll see.
It's like I don't know if I would open it. You have to make a subgroup there, but no, whatever it is. Um, yeah. So the one that has been circling is Ezequiel Ponce, a guy
Dun, dun,
that
dun, dun.
obviously the record transfer for the Houston Dynamo a couple years back. Spent a good chunk of money for your Argentine compare. What is the word? Compatriota.
Compatriot? I don't know.
Yeah.
Patriot?
Jay Hurtado said, "What's the space you donate to join?" Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's
You know what? Give me
go.
a second. Let me look for that.
Put the link up.
So yeah, yeah. So Ezequiel Ponce is the one that we heard that it's likely going to. Well, not likely. It the people are looking for him for sure, and that it's being Pumas Unam. We saw that rumor and we were like, really? And obviously, there's people that weren't
We got
really known. Well,
connections.
they weren't really known, and then we kept seeing like bigger outlets from Mexico, which is Medio Tiempo, well, shout out to Medio Tempo. Like that used to be my my cousin's husband used to own that company, and he asked me a
Really?
long time. This is how he asked me when I was like 14 if I wanted to like write for them and stuff, and I never did.
Dang.
So look, full circle, brother.
Destiny, bro.
Yeah,
Destiny
exactly.
had you here.
It
Look
has
at
me
you.
here. And yeah, so he owned Medio Tiempo with his brother. Sadly, his brother passed away tragically. And so
Dang.
he kept it running, but it wasn't his like love affair and why not? So he moved away from Medio Tiempo. But I'm sure he made a good chunk of money selling Medio Tiempo .com a long time ago. But anyways, so we saw them and we saw Fútbol Total, which are very reputable Mexican outlets out there, magazines and article based. And so we asked our source, right, from Mexico. I'm like, hey, man, you have contacts because we know
You
you
know
do.
people.
We weren't, but he said it was true that in fact, uh, Pumas did reach out or at least make connection and kind of, wanted to
Inquired.
see. Correct, where it's inquired about Ezequiel Ponce. He is, I guess you would call it a backup plan B
Yeah.
or option B if option A is not available. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that? On just getting that, I guess getting some interest on Ponce, who, you ask the Houston Dynamo fan, they're not. A lot of them are not very happy just because of his lack of goals since his
Yeah.
arrival.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty high on Ponce in a way. I know obviously the lack of goal from a forward, it's what you don't want, but I think obviously off the ball he does give you a lot, especially for a team like Ben Olsen wants to run. But I think in Mexican league, obviously it's a whole different ball game, and I think he would probably thrive a lot more in there than here. To be honest, I don't know why or how, but it just seems like a right fit. The question is, as we were talking earlier with you guys and Dustin, uh, would this be like a Mikael situation? Like, oh shoot, like one of our key pieces, because he is a key piece. I mean, he's a DP. Just basically got sold a couple of weeks before the season started. So what now? What kind of nine do we come up with? Where are you going to find a nine that is like has a reputable uh I don't know if we can say pedigree.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't because he's not there, but
well,
you
you
can kind of see it in the future.
Yeah, an experienced guy that
Yeah,
can that it's a goal scorer, a proven goal scorer is where
yeah,
you're kind of going with. And I totally agree. I think that Ponce it's works perfectly in Ben Olsen's system. I mean, the
yeah,
guy, he's not a guy that's just gonna grab the ball and dribble everybody, through the opposition. We did see him score a very good goal that he took a really nice touch and kind of burned the last defender, which is rare to see of Ponce. But he has speed. He has the ability. He's very lethal.
body.
I always joke around about he can't really score with headers because it seemed like every time he has a header, like a free header, whether he
Yeah,
just hit it wide or right to the goalie. But I mean, he's one of those guys that if you give him the opportunity, he's gonna kick it towards the goal and
yeah,
either with precision and finesse, or he's just gonna rocket that thing to get it past the goalkeeper.
yeah,
And the issue with the Dynamo is that he just has not haven't gotten the opportunity and the setups in front of a goal. to take advantage and create a lot of goals. And so when you look at his numbers, I mean, he scored basically every other 3 games, which you're like, oh, that's not that great. But it really is when you don't have that many opportunities, Christian.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'll be honest, I don't remember how many goals he scored like this last couple of seasons, but I think you can maybe correlate the numbers of goals he had with the people around him. And if you look at, if we talked about some rumors of people coming in, and if you put that into the equation with a with the guys that we have now, with Anali now being healthy from the beginning of the season, with Jack McGlynn being he's becoming a superstar per se in the MLS. If you're gonna bring somebody like Agustin Bosad, who we saw that not only does he have defensive grit, but also can get you a good pass in there. We saw, Guillermo, he can get in the box as well. I mean, you have Dorsey that he can get to the box. On the other side, you had the other Brazilian kid that I'm blanking out right now, that he can go up to the box too as a left back. Felipe. And if you add those, and then you have a 9 that can live in the box instead of having to come down and get the ball and then having to run back into the box, he maybe didn't have that as much, but whenever he had people around him, you can tell it's a guy, as we say in Spanish, that que tiene el arco entre las cejas. Like he has the goal in between his eyes.
Exactly where he knows where the goal is at. He knows
at all times. He knows where the goal is, and he's gonna shoot it usually in that direction. So if you can get a shot on target, the chances of you scoring a goal is gonna increase a whole lot more. So
yeah, and it's definitely interesting because again, you're the players that they're bringing in, as you mentioned, are players to work with Ponce and make Ponce better. And so if Pumas comes in here and is trying to buy Ponce, first of all, the Dynamo are going to be hopefully smart enough to be like, you're not undercutting us. You probably aren't going to get $8 million that you paid, but you're not going to come in here and just get them for, $4 million or $2 million or whatever, like a big undercut, no matter however you want to see it, right? Because it wouldn't be smart in this scenario, as we were hoping that Dustin would jump in here, maybe talk a little bit more of that. But yeah, you don't want to be put in that Mikael situation, that you build this, team to be around it. And, Mikael, I would say, is not, as the striker, as a goal scorer, the goal scorer is more important, right? I mean, we won't say it too loud because, the people that played strikers, they're divas, right? But yeah, in reality, goals do win you games. And so in this scenario, you obviously lost Gabe Siegel, you let him walk, and there's really not a backup apart from this kid that just got recently got picked up from college. So there's nobody there behind it. And so that's another, you hope that those are players that are still being looked at to be brought in, hopefully before the season ends. And before the season starts, and right now the off season taking place, or as soon as the transfer window opens in the summer. I mean, honestly, sooner is better. Absolutely.
Yeah. And like you said, even now they would still have to bring another striker in, because you let Siegel walk, like you mentioned, and then Santos, was it the other guy that they let walk? Me personally, I loved the little bit that I saw.
And Toyosi is still out on loan, so it's not like he's coming back till June. It ends in June, so there's really no backup.
Didn't he come? Wasn't he coming back, or am I tripping?
No, his loan is, I believe, till the end of May. Like
I thought the team that he was on kind of like kicked him out.
No,
I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm tripping, but I thought I read that.
Him anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I don't like Toyosi, me personally, so I don't see him as a really good number 9 in this league. But I thought Santos could have done a lot. I don't even know where Santos ended up at, but I think they also just kind of let him walk because he was on loan till the end of the season. I wish they would have kept him and kind of see a little bit more, another year loan. But I mean, I guess they're going to use that money to hopefully bring in an actual number 9 as a backup. And, if the transaction goes through with Ponce and Pumas, then you're going to be out of all strikers. So what are you going to play there? Corey Barrett is not going to come back. Maybe. Who knows?
I'm asking Dustin to send me the recent chart he created. Bless you.
Oh, thank you. But it's gonna be interesting. I don't know. Do you think Pumas? Because in my opinion, Ponce cannot leave for anything under 5, and I
I
don't
mean, no,
even
well,
say
yeah,
6.
I think, yeah, obviously, like if you're being smart with, and again, I think Ponce it's a guy that hate, love him or hate him. I know there's people that don't like him because again, he doesn't score a lot of goals, but then you look at everything and that it entails, and you're like, okay, he actually has had decent years, right, since his
Yeah,
arrival, but I mean, you expect a lot from a guy that they spend $8 million to get. So you expect 15 goals minimum, which to
yeah,
me, obviously it's still too early for predictions. But if we're gonna, predict that he's still here, he's gonna be who you predict as your gold boot winner, and is gonna be 15 plus this year
yeah,
for sure. You have to, otherwise you're not hitting what the expectation should be, and it's a real, it's a reality. It's not a make believe number. 15 goals should be
should be.
what Ponce should be hitting with the quality that he has.
He had what, 13 last year?
He had 10 last year,
Okay.
and he played again like 36 games, and that's purely MLS. So
Yeah.
he scored about every
Third
third
game.
game, and
Okay.
then before that he played 10 games, and I think he scored 5 goals. So again, his ratio is not terrible. Granted, I think on the first year he got here, I think he scored a hat trick, so that's 3 goals in one
Yeah.
game out of those 10. So
Still
kind of
counts.
skews the numbers a little bit,
Yeah.
but when it comes to it, yeah, you really are putting yourself in a bad situation if you decide, hey, you know what, let's just so get Ponce can go, right? And again,
Yeah.
if you're a selling club and you feel like, hey, we can improve this, and look, we're not losing our money like we did with Sebastian Ferreira, to throw him out there, right? That you had to basically,
Loose.
terminate the contract and pay
Yeah.
him, yeah, a free year basically. And so in a way, you're put in a situation there like, man, someone's actually kind of inquiring about him, and what do we do? But if you don't have a backup plan, then say bye to 2026 season, at least for half of the season, because you're going to try to figure out to get somebody in the summer
Yeah.
with the World Cup and all that stuff that it's going to entail. So there's a lot of moving pieces. And oh, look at our friend Dustin sending it. All right, so I have the
There you
depth
go.
chart here to talk about.
So,
I won't be able to. Well, actually, I may be able to put it on here. Christian, tell me if you can see it
all
if I
right.
add it on
Let's see
here.
if
Just
the nerds unite here.
let me see. Let me see. Let me see.
Bro,
Screen
say
share.
what you say about Dustin, but I like Dustin.
Yeah,
I love that he keeps up with so many things in his life. I don't know how he does it. He probably has his life and also in a spreadsheet. Yeah,
there
you
you
can.
go.
Yeah, you can see it
You
there.
can see it. All right. So
Right.
currently the depth chart has, and I'll just go through the bottom. So the keepers, you currently have obviously Jonathan Bond, Jimmy Maurer, and Gillingham
Gillingham.
as your, yeah, as
Oh, he's still around.
Blake Gillingham on your, as your third goalkeeper. And then center back, you only have Antonio Carlos,
Yeesh.
Diachenko currently. Fullback, you only have Dorsey and Felipe Andrade. Holding midfielders, you have Samaseku, which what's his? What, I'm trying to think of his nickname. I
Nah,
can't think
you
of his
got
name.
me.
No, I'm trying to think of his nickname. Arthur, and then not Jonathan. What's his name? Rodriguez.
Uh, yeah,
Oh my
that
god.
kid. We know him.
Sebastian Rodriguez. Sorry. I should have known that. And then central midfielder, you only have Linger in there as you're attacking. And then wingers, again, you're adding to this list because if that is the case. But you have Inali, McGlynn, Quinones, Holmes, and Arsu, which at this point I believe we saw that Arsu may be leaving
Yeah,
as well on loan back to I think Honduras. And then forwards, you currently have Ponce and Olusanya, which he's loaned out in
yeah,
this depth chart that Dustin keeps up, and we can put out here. But anyways, let me get this out. Yep.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean
There's not a lot there, huh?
it's not a lot there. So there
Dang.
is this is again roster construction time. You have to build it up. Everybody's doing it, right? Everybody's getting on board. Now my question is to you, and we'll finish with this since I don't want to go any further than an hour and whatever 15 minutes.
Yeah.
What would you think if the Dynamo go the Inter Miami route? The get everybody on loan. I mean, just get everybody on loan, kind of like get 5, 6 players on loan and basically just move away from them. Is that, I mean, seems like a good enough
I
business
mean,
to get you an MLS Cup. I mean, you don't
exactly.
have Lionel Messi, but you
It's
do have
it's yeah.
Arthur.
It's one of those discussions like, would you rather this or that? And like they're both kind of like good, but also not good at the same time. But I think in the
It
reality of
would
things,
it wouldn't work for Manny Olivares who buys the kits with names on them.
yeah, exactly. That would say Manny would be, like the meme from Tiger King. I'm never gonna financially recover.
Oh,
That's
I love
Manny.
that. Yeah.
Manny on loans. Um, but I mean, if loans are gonna get you a team that is gonna win a championship, I'm all for it. Sign me up. At the end of the day, I mean, we're all gonna remember trophies, not names in a way. And I mean, that's one way to do it. That's one way to build a roster too. I mean, if Miami can do it, even though they are special, I would say everybody else can do it. I don't even know if that is possible, but I mean, it is an option. It is an option, and honestly, right now the Dynamo do need a lot of depth. I mean, we were just looking; they need at least two more center backs. They need at least one right back, one left back. They need midfielders. They need we got wingers up the wazoo, but every other position it's slim pickings, and if one goes down, hopefully nothing happens, but it's part of the game too. But if guys got to sit out, then who are you going to put in? It's just there's not much there as much as you want to. So I think the Dynamo should at least.
I think the categories, bro.
Signings. Yeah, the cat's like, bro, this is it.
And like he's like, get this is my bed, bro.
Yeah.
Leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So
I agree, man. And again, there's obviously this is the first Monday of the year, the first podcast of the year.
yeah,
Glad to be back. Glad to discuss. I mean, we've been here a good time. I thought we were gonna do 2 hour segment. I'm glad we did not. We are close to about 150 people have shown watching us live. So man, thank you guys again for joining us. I'm glad that we see Jay Hurtado, we see Madeline, we see Mr. Tovar. Hopefully you got
leave
the
us a
best of
thumbs
what
up.
you wanted, man. Yeah, give us a thumbs up. Foodie fan, man, get in here. Well, somebody will share the Strava thing with you for sure. Oh
I
wait,
should,
I think that was Madeline. My bad.
yeah, I shared mine, so somebody
Yeah,
jump in there.
yeah, no kidding. But guys, Christian, I guess
Yes.
since we didn't do it earlier, if you can tell the people how they can connect with us, man.
Of course, as like always, BayouCitySoccer.net is the website, guys. Go check us out over there. Everything that you need and want soccer related content is going to be there, especially this year. This year is going to be huge. So make sure to stay tuned in. I mean, we only have a World Cup coming. So not only hoping for a great Dynamo season, a great Dash season, a great Dynamo Dos season, but also a World Cup season is upon us. So hopefully you guys stay tuned with us and be able to share all the festivities and share all the good stuff that is coming. I mean, the content's going to keep popping up, and we're going to do our best to cover everything that is going on in Houston here in the soccer world in Houston. So check us out,
Yeah.
BayouCitySoccer.net.
Even if FIFA doesn't like us, we're not
Oh,
trying to.
FIFA,
Yeah, FIFA can
huge
can
FIFA.
can shove it, man. They can shove it, giving away made up trophies and awards. They can shove it, man. But Jay Hurtado asked, when is the next live? Dude, we are back. We
We're
should
back,
be
baby.
back at it every single Monday. Hopefully next Monday, again, we're actually discussing confirm transactions and we can maybe find videos and information. Yeah, exactly. Talk to guys that follow the teams that this new transfer players are coming in from and get you that information. We already have a few that we're working on to get more information on you guys. And yeah, I mean, glad to be back. Christian, once again, man, fantastic to see you.
Same.
Even though virtually, we're what 60 miles away, something like that, about an hour and a half probably.
Yeah.
But man, wishing everybody a fantastic start to their 2026 year. If you're a resolution person, man, keep going, man. Don't stop. You're 5 days in. If you're like me that doesn't really do that anymore because I used to be the quitter like at 10 days in, but this year I started last year. So I'm gonna be the follow through guy this
There
year.
you go. There you go.
So, man, thank you guys again for joining our space. Don't forget to hold it down. Keep it forever orange, and we'll see you the next time. Peace.
You guys.